نے ستایا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، تین شب و روز کا پیاسا حسین، تین شب و روز کا پیاسا حسین، دشت بلا میں تجھے مارا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، بھیج کے خط تجھ کو بلایا گیا، تیرا وطن تجھ سے چھڑایا گیا، بھیج کے خط تجھ کو بلایا گیا، قبر سے نانا کی ہٹایا گیا، پڑھ کر تسلیم و رضا یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، گونج رہی ہے یہ صدا یا حسین، گونج رہی ہے یہ صدا یا حسین، تجھ کو لعینوں نے ستایا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، کرب و بلا گھیر کے لائے تجھے، تیرے عزیز اور رفقا ساتھ تھے، کرب و بلا گھیر کے لائے تجھے، نہر سے خیمے بھی ہٹائے گئے، حضر ذرا بھی نہ کیا یا حسین یا حسین، گونج رہی ہے یہ صدا یا حسین، تجھ کو لعینوں نے ستایا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، کیا صبح عاشور کا ہنگام تھا، سارا جہاں لرزب رندام تھا، کیا صبح عاشور کا ہنگام تھا، تجھ کو عبادت کا فقط کام تھا، تجھ کو عبادت سے فقط کام تھا یا حسین، گونج رہی ہے یہ صدا یا حسین، گونج رہی ہے یہ صدا یا حسین، تجھ کو لعینوں نے ستایا حسین یا حسین، دشت میں تھوڑی سی جگہ مل گئی، احمد آدھا سے زمین ہل گئی، دشت میں تھوڑی سی جگہ مل گئی، اور نظر جب سوئے ساحل گئی، اس پہ لعینوں کا تھا پہرا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، گونج رہی ہے یہ صدا یا حسین، گونج رہی ہے یہ صدا یا حسین، تجھ کو لعینوں نے ستایا حسین یا حسین، ارے بھیج کے خط تجھ کو بلایا گیا، تیرا وطن تجھ سے چھڑایا گیا، بھیج کے خط تجھ کو بلایا گیا، قبر سے نانا کی ہٹایا گیا، پڑھ کر تسلیم و رضا یا حسین یا حسین، گونج رہی ہے یہ صدا یا حسین، گونج رہی ہے یہ صدا یا حسین، تجھ کو لعینوں نے ستایا حسین یا حسین، صلوات پڑھیں محمد۔
Beasts wandering the jungle or worshipping him, the flies. When it came to this world, spoke out the Lord great. This world for Muhammad Allah creates. In his defense, the owner of Dhul Fiqar struck. By him the lion of God stood as others flocked. They all waited to be chosen, but stood awestruck as he called for Ali, and the universe rocked. For him Ali rode out, and Khaybar's door plucked. For him Ali rode out, and Khaybar's door plucked. For his love, Ali in Muhammad's bed slept. Ali can't help but come first. Ali can't help but come first. But even he understood, like shadows the sun, the moon, Ali follows Muhammad. His existence is for Muhammad since his birth date. This world for Muhammad Allah creates. A young girl steps into the crowd and they embrace. The blood she would wipe from her father's wounded face. From day one they hated him and they tried to disgrace, but her presence soothed him and he'd rise from his place, defending against a tyrant alone her case. And with such grace every injustice she'd erase. Questioning his lineage, they'd insult her pure father. God silenced them with one verse. Indeed, we sent to you Kawthar. She's the mistress of all women. And this was fate, this world for Muhammad, Allah creates. His son's hands he'd hold. Muhammad has two sons. Beauty is adorned by the first, the generous one. To fulfill every wish, he turns away none. If you want oceans of gold, it would be done. The moon in one hand, in the other is the sun. If it's all for Muhammad, then it's all for Hassan. Those who sat silent watching as Hassan rose defending his grandfather's footsteps, walked to his feet, the world bending. The seas would flood. To Hassan's aid they would race. This world for Muhammad Allah creates. Hussein boards his ship, this scene creating. Behind him the 72 following. The water calms and the ark stops shaking. As they enter salvation, a man for them is waiting. Every one of them stops towards him facing. For him, around Hussein they've been rotating. He stands and silenced is every sound. He stands and silenced is every sound. The reason for love and hate has been found. The reason to sacrifice they couldn't wait. This world for Muhammad Allah creates. In a world littered with murder and terror. In a world littered with murder and terror, he teaches us to love the rich and the beggar. Love those who he loves. Love them for his pleasure. What is this religion without loving those nearer and those who lied to him and fell into error, who rose to murder God's chosen messenger? It matters not who you are, his wife. It matters not who you are, a wife, friend or a brother. Your titles cannot save you. Your actions were made clear. Don't be shy. His killers the universe hates. This world for Muhammad Allah creates. For one being God created everything. How then can anyone refrain from loving? But just in case, it's as if he was reminding man and jinn, tightly onto Muhammad's rope cling. Love is the first part, Muhammad and his offspring. Love is the first part, Muhammad and his offspring, but it's only complete by his enemies hating. All we want is the truth when we question how he died. All we want is the truth when we question how he died. Quran tells us to question those who lived with him and lied. You tried to hide it, but the world saw your hate. This world for Muhammad Allah creates. You took the title of mother of the believers. Never have I seen such a devious creature. To lie to him, to hurt him, you were so eager until Allah had to expose your every feature. When against Ali you rode, an army's leader, did you think you could defeat the true believer? We have already told you there's only one mistress. We've already told you there's only one mistress. what you did to her father, the universe is a witness. Only He knows of your punishment the weight. This world for Muhammad Allah creates. As he'd walk past, trees would yearn to bow at his feet. As he'd walk past, trees would yearn to bow at his feet. For a glimpse of his face, the angels would compete. He'd split it, and the moon in happiness would weep. He'd split it, and the moon in happiness would weep. Christians would enter his mosque and get the best seat. The Jews waited for him. Their religion he'd complete. The Jews waited for him. Their religion he'd complete. Every atom his scent touched, Muhammad it would greet, be it the tips of our fingers or the galaxies in the skies, beasts wandering the jungle or worshipping him the flies. From his footsteps the earth would ask permission to rotate. From his footsteps the earth would ask permission to rotate. This world for Muhammad Allah creates. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Membership is now due for renewal. Members are requested to please bring their membership up to date. Members are also reminded that the annual general meeting has been rescheduled and will now be held on the 10th of December, commencing at 5 p.m. inshallah. Tomorrow morning, Fajr program begins at 7 a.m. with Fajr Jamaat Namaz, followed by a short talk by Maulana Mukhtar Abbas, ending with a hearty breakfast niyaz. The ladies program begins at 11:46 a.m. with Zuhrain Namaz, followed by Hadith Kisa, Marsiya, Majlis, ending with Matim and Ziyarat. On Tuesday the 21st of November, corresponding to the first day of Rabiul Awwal, Senior Citizen Program for ladies and gents begins at 11 a.m. Next Thursday the 23rd of November, we shall commemorate the wafat of Bibi Masuma'ikum, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayha. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And inshallah the program begins at 7:30 p.m. with Maghrib and Jamaat Namaz, Surah Yasin, Dua Kumail, Marsiya, and at 8:45 p.m. Majlis by Maulana Mukhtar Abbas, ending with Matam and Ziyad Zawaratha. Next Sunday, the 26th of November, there will be the 40th Majlis for Marhum Sartaz Al-Ikara. The program begins at 6 p.m. with Maghrib and Jamaat Namaz, Niyaz, and at 7:30 p.m. Majlis by Sayyid Ammar Naqshwani. All brothers and sisters are requested to attend, inshallah. Dua Shafa is requested for the following Marid: Muhammad Saki Ballu, Juma Salim Muhammad, Fatima Ali, Hasina Ladak, Shirin by Ramji Petza, Samina Zaidi, brother Amir Raza, Muhammad Raza Rahim Ramji, and Kullu Mu'mineen who are either unwell or suffering tonight. Dua Shafa, please. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amma yujibul mudhtarra idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Just one quick announcement: you are kindly requested to attend a Gents Majlis Azhar at Brother Sibte in Raza's residence on Sunday the 19th of November at 4:30 p.m. 61 St. Oswald's Road, Norbury, London, SW163 SA. Majlis will be recited by Sheikh Muhammad Abbas Panju. All mu'mineen are requested to attend. For further information, please contact Brother Sibte in Raza or Brother Muhammad Raza, inshallah. Lastly, brothers and sisters, Surah Fatiha is requested for all the marhumeens whose names will be appearing on the screens, for the deceased. Tonight's Majlis, can I please request all the brothers at the back to come as close to the front as possible? There's so much space towards my right hand side. So please, brothers, stand up and come as close to the front as possible. We are expecting quite a number of people tonight. And at the same time, can you please welcome Sayyid Moderresi to come and recite tonight's Majlis? Please welcome him with the last salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Brothers, please come as close to the front as
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين وحبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين الغرر الميامين سيما بقية الله في الأراضين وحجته على الخلائق أجمعين سيدنا وإمام زماننا وصاحب نعمتنا وولي أمرنا مهدي هذه الأمة وطاووس أهل الجنة الحجة بن الحسن العسكري فداه أرواح العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله. قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وجعلناهم أئمة يهدون بأمرنا وأوحينا إليهم فعل الخيرات. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Brothers and sisters, dear elders, respected scholars, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. One of the biggest and most deadly mistakes that we as human beings commit is that we underestimate the tenacity, the shrewdness, the smartness of the enemy. We underestimate just how tenacious the shaitan is and how committed he is to bring about our destruction. The enemy, brothers and sisters, is not only shrewd, not only astute, not only smart, not only deceptive and cunning, but one other feature that's not highlighted as much as it should be is just how patient he is. The amount of time he is willing to expend in order to hatch and execute his plan is simply spectacular. A group of people come to Imam al-Hasan al-Askari salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. They say to the Imam, Ya ibn Rasulillah, O son of the grand prophet of Islam, our enemies are making an argument that we simply cannot answer. They tell us that you claim certain companions of the Prophet were in fact hypocrites, claiming to be Muslim, outwardly subscribing to the nation of Muslims, but in reality they harbored enmity towards Islam. Deep down, they did not hold a trace of belief and faith. They didn't believe in the entire project, but they joined in and they became moles, hypocrites, and people trying to destroy this religion from within. But while you make this claim, our enemies would say, think about this for a moment. In the beginning of the prophetic mission, when the Messenger of Allah declared that he had received revelation from the heavens, the Prophet lacked any power that they would fear. The people you claim were hypocrites, they didn't fear the Prophet because he lacked any means of bringing about any harm to them. So there was nothing the Prophet possessed that they feared. And on the other hand, the Prophet lacked anything of value that they desired. So why would they embrace this newfound religion when there is really nothing in it for them? How could they be hypocrites when they stood to gain nothing and they feared nothing? Remember when the Prophet was sent to reveal God's message to the people of Mecca, he was alone, he was abandoned by his own family members, he didn't have much in the way of financial resources except his wife's savings. The Prophet was all alone, surrounded by so many powerful enemies. So in terms of power, the Prophet had nothing. In terms of worldly possessions, if you claim that these people converted and claimed to become Muslims, so they would, for instance, succeed the Prophet, become leaders after his death, well, he really didn't have anything. So how could you say that they converted to Islam deceptively? If you think about it, it's a pretty sound argument. Not only that, think about this, brothers and sisters. They joined the religion while they were still in Mecca. And in Mecca, they literally had to put their lives in danger. They had to put their lives and the lives of their loved ones, their families, in harm's way, simply by declaring that they are now Muslims. And if we are going to accept the conspiracy theory that they converted out of greed for something, then again, it makes no sense to join his mission at the very onset of his prophethood. Had they converted at the time of Abu Sufyan, this would make perfect sense. Why? Because Abu Sufyan, as you are well aware, converted to the religion after the Prophet had liberated the city of Mecca. So, 10 years after leaving Mecca, 13 years after the prophetic mission had begun, the Prophet has now returned with an army of Muslims. He had established a state, a government, with political branches. He had real military might and power. So out of fear for his life, Abu Sufyan would say, even though, as we explained last night, the Prophet pardoned them, the Prophet gave them a chance to repent from their former sins, but once again, he might still be afraid for his life, or he wants to declare his Islam because he thinks to himself, well, maybe there is something to be gained. But why join the Prophet at the very beginning when there was none of these things that we just described? Do you know what the Imam replied with? The Imam said that they had heard prophecies. They had heard from scholars of biblical sciences, of people who studied meticulously the book of Revelations in the Old Testament. They had heard from biblical and rabbinical scholars features that they discovered in the presence of Rasulullah. When they saw and recognized those features, they realized that this was a mission worth joining. In other words, have you seen how sometimes, especially in the technology sector, in Silicon Valley and elsewhere, what you find is a group of people called angel investors. And what these are is essentially venture capitalists. And a smart venture capitalist, or VC, is an individual who joins a company and buys a stake in the company before everybody else does. So even before the company has its IPO or its investment round where they seek investment from the general public, you find these people who have a very astute mind for profitable investments. They go out there in the field and they seek out projects that they know will be successful, or at least they can get a good return on their investment. The people who joined the prophetic mission but ended up being hypocrites from day one were very astute venture capitalists, is what they were. So, add their shrewdness and their ability to see ahead of the curve, their ability to look at a project, a product, and know beforehand, before it becomes popular, they have the ability to recognize that this is a product that's going to succeed and do so spectacularly. Given the circumstances, given the norm of the day, given the status and the state of Jahiliyyah that was there, when they saw what the Prophet was offering, they realized early on that this was going to catch on, number one. Number two, Imam al-Hasan al-Askari says that they had heard people who gave prophecies, who could tell the future based on prior divine scripture, that this man was a true and genuine prophet, and that he would become a head of state, and that he alone would be able to unite Arabia and even go beyond Arabia, go beyond the realms of the Arabian deserts and reach as far as the heart of Europe, conquer Persia, and do some great things. And it's at that point that they realized, as very smart angel investors, that they needed to join this. Now, what's truly amazing, going back to the point that I made earlier, is just how patient they were. Isn't it amazing? They don't believe a word coming out of the Prophet's blessed mouth. I'm not the one making that very serious accusation. Imam al-Sadiq himself says, "Ma amana billah tarfata ayn." Not for a second did they believe in what the Prophet was delivering to them. It's not that they started out good and they ended up going astray. It's not that they were believers at first, but then due to the political upheaval that preceded the death of the Prophet, they ended up abandoning him. No, they never had an iota, a modicum of belief in the prophetic message. It was, to them, it was just a matter of a product that's going to succeed. So let's get a piece of the pie. That's it. At the same time, there is something to be said about how patient they were. Think about this. You don't believe a word coming out of the Prophet's mouth, but you're willing to put an act that's worthy of 1,000 Oscars. You're willing to spend 23 years with the Prophet, claiming to believe in him, claiming to be a companion of his, expressing love and respect and admiration towards him. The job of a hypocrite, brothers and sisters, is a very, very difficult job. Not only that, but they were willing to go the extra mile. They were willing to stay with the Prophet through thick and thin. They were willing to risk their lives, as I said earlier. Go to battle. Obviously, they never seriously fought in any battle. They made sure that they had an exit plan. They had a strategy to ensure that no harm ever got to them, because they have their eyes on what? On the prize. They have their eyes on what happens after the Prophet's death. That is why, brothers and sisters, the scheme that developed and surfaced after the demise of the Holy Messenger of Allah was so elaborate that today about 1 billion people have fallen for it. It was so smart. It was so incredibly executed. To the second. To the point that the Prophet gets buried and no one participates in his funeral. Rasulullah, brothers and sisters, I mean, it never fails to shock me. The Holy Messenger of Allah was not just a head of state. He wasn't just a political leader. He was a messenger who literally brought these people from the brink of self-annihilation and turned them into human beings with a sense of dignity and self-respect. And now that he's dead, you abandon him in his daughter's house, in the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen, while you go and sit together and call for a summit of world leaders, of tribal leaders, a G5, a G7, a G20, I don't know how many people participated, sat together around a table. There was a bit of a punch-up. Literally, I'm not joking, I'm not making this stuff up. Right? The second Khalifa himself in Sahih al-Bukhari, in the chapter, and I've talked about this in previous lectures, in the chapter talking about whether a pregnant, adulterous woman can be stoned to death or not, as messed up and sickening as that heading is, in that chapter, he says that we got together, there was deep disagreements. Obviously, they're fighting over what? Over something they just spent the last 23 years plotting to get. And now there are people with the audacity to claim that position, to claim that, oh, we are the Aus, we are the Khazraj, there should be a power-sharing agreement between the two. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? So the first thing that happens is there's an actual physical brawl and a punch-up that takes place. Eventually, the head of Al-Khazraj gets assassinated, and they even come up with this ludicrous scenario where they say that it wasn't us who killed him, but rather it was the jinn who had some beef with the leader of the Khazraj. I don't know, it beats me, right? They leave a scribe on his door saying that we the jinn came and killed him. That's why it was so elaborate. That's why so many people continue to fall for it. That's why Saqifa is so enticing to this very day. 21st century. So many plots have been exposed for the frauds that they were, and yet this fraud remains the most elaborate, well-executed plan ever devised in all of human history. Why? Because for 23 years they were plotting. 23 years they're scheming. And again, as I said, the patience is just mind-boggling. Their patience was incredible. Act like you care, act like you believe, act like you love him. Not just that. Give him your daughter to marry. Marry one of his daughters or stepdaughters. So in other words, you forge family bonds over a lie, over a deception, over what? An investment. An investment. As far as they were concerned, this investment paid off. And it paid off very, very well. In the end, instead of collecting animal manure and selling it in the marketplace, which is actually the job of one of these people prior to converting to Islam, that's literally what he did, he realized, well, I better make something out of myself. I'm a smart person, I'm an entrepreneur, so let's jump on this bandwagon called Islam. Because maybe, just maybe, one day I'll be able to be the ruler of the Muslim world. Subhanallah. Incredible patience, isn't it? I'll give you another example. Ma'mun. In one hadith, the Messenger of Allah describes Ma'mun as alimuhum. The Prophet talks about each of the Bani Umayyah Khulafa and Bani al-Abbas. When he gets to Ma'mun, he says he is the most cunning of them all. Why? Because again, while every other ruler and Khalifa that preceded him did not have any qualms, did not try to hide the fact that they despised the Ahlul Bayt, after all, they were killing them one after the other. When it came time for Ma'mun to establish his reign, he tried another strategy. He said, well, instead of fighting them, instead of openly declaring an open war against the Ahlul Bayt, let's try something different. I love the Ahlul Bayt. And so not only does he invite Imam al-Ridha to come and live with him, he says to the Imam, I would like you to be the crown prince. Right? He appoints the Imam as the crown prince. He would address Imam al-Ridha as Yabna Am, my dear cousin, in public, in private. I mean, if it was just a public gesture, again, I would understand. I would say, well, that's not as hard. But then, even in private, He actually expressed love and adoration to Imam Ridha. In public, it was just, he put out a spectacle of love and respect for the Imam. Ya ibn al-Am, come. I have these Christians, I have these Jews, I have these atheists, I have these Zoroastrians, I have these Sabians. Come and debate them, defeat them for me. In fact, his act was so well played that some Shia scholars fell for it. People who said, well, you know, Ma'mun seems like a really good guy. He seems like the kind of person who actually believes in the imamah of Imam al-Ridha. The problem is, he had political disagreements with him. They fought over the position of authority and leadership. But in terms of his beliefs, in terms of his aqa'id, Ma'mun was as Shia as they come. Right? Some Shia scholars fell for that. Where in fact we know that Ma'mun was an even greater monster than all of those khulafa who preceded him. Why? Because at least the others exposed themselves for who they were. Ma'mun didn't. Ma'mun claimed that he was a lover of the Ahlul Bayt. By the way, let me make a point here that I believe is important, brothers and sisters. We kind of touched on this last night. It's often easy to be able to distinguish and recognize falsehood. Not all the time, which is why we're instructed to recite the dua, Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqan fanattabi'ah. Oh Allah, show us the truth as truth so that we would follow it. وَالْبَاطِلَ بَاطِلًا فَنَجْتَنِبَهُ. And show us falsehood for what it is so that we are able to avoid it. But for the most part, and with the guidance of our intellect and scholars and the words of Allah and the words of the Ahlul Bayt, it's not that hard, right? When you have for example, you have a sworn Islamophobe who comes and spits out vulgar profanities against the Quran. No serious Muslim is even going to listen to that garbage, let alone fall for it, let alone be deceived by it, right? The real challenge is when you have somebody using the truth to strike down the truth, right? That's what Amir al-Mu'mineen refers to as what? كَلِمَةُ حَقٍّ يُرَأْدُ بِهَا بَاطِلٍ. A word of truth that we don't have a problem with. But the motive behind that truth is to strike down another truth and to establish falsehood. Where did the Imam say this? At least on two occasions. The first was when Muawiyah, at the behest and instructions of his trusted advisor Amr ibn al-As, raises copies of the Quran at the tip of spears and says, well, if we're going to fight, then let's get the Quran to mediate between us. Beautiful. Absolutely genuine gesture. What better than the Quran to mediate between two warring factions? We both claim to be Muslims. We both claim adherence to the message of this book. So why not let the Quran be our mediator? And so some people fell for that. You imbeciles. This is Ali ibn Abi Talib you're talking about. This is the talking, walking, speaking spirit of the Quran. And you pit him against the silent Quran. Now you have the silent Quran being used by Muawiyah to mediate between Ali ibn Abi Talib and his enemies. But they were imbeciles and they fell for that very cunning scheme that was devised by Amr ibn al-As. What did the Imam say? He said, Kalimatu haqq. We don't have a problem with the Quran. We're fighting them because of the Quran, to establish the laws of the Quran. يُرَادُ بِهَا بَاطِلٌ. But what they're trying to do with that truth is to establish falsehood. The second occasion where the Imam said this was when he was speaking on the minbar in Masjid al-Kufa. And a group of Kharijites stood up. And they started chanting this slogan. Again, look at the slogan in a vacuum, in isolation, and tell me if you have a problem with it. They said, La hukma illa lillah. The only one with true authority is God Himself. In fact, this statement is so true and so genuine that even the hadith says the Imam did not utter a word. They were disrupting the Imam's address and his sermon. But the Imam didn't say anything, because anything he would have said would have been taken as an objection to the statement. So the Imam didn't say anything until their voices were raised. And you had more and more people joining. Again, a bunch of imbeciles falling for the trap of the shaitan. And when things got a little chaotic and out of control, it's at that point that Amir al-Mu'mineen said, "Kalimatu haqqin yuradu biha batil." Remember this statement, brothers and sisters. You'll need it over and over and over again for the rest of your lives. Kalimatu haqq yuradu biha batil. A statement of truth, but the motive behind it is to strike down the truth. It's to establish falsehood. And you know when that happens? Let me just give you a few examples. It happens when you hear people pitting one truth against another truth. Right? For example, they would say things like, the Quran is of prime importance. Well, of course, who's going to object to that? But what they're actually trying to do is to undermine the hadith. When they say Quran, 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 essentially, what they're trying to do is to say, well, hadith is objectionable. Hadith is questionable. Hadith, well, there's issues of authenticity and there's problems there. And of course, we know why they do that. It's because anybody, no matter what your ideological school of thought, no matter what you subscribe to, can use the Quran to prove a point that they're making. Why? Because the Quran has a certain vagueness to it, and we kind of referenced that last night. The abbreviated letters in the Quran, and so on and so forth. All these things, they present the Quran, or one can make the argument that the Quran is therefore malleable, the Quran is flexible, the Quran has a degree of, vagueness to it that you can kind of twist and turn and interpret in different ways, right? But the reason for that, as we explained last night, is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to refer us back to the teachers of the Quran. He's trying to say that, look, if you're going to go by the Quran alone, then you're going to end up with hundreds of sects and denominations and people claiming to be the truthful heirs to the prophetic message. What you need to do in order to set the record straight is to go back to the second thaql or thiql. You need to go back to the partners of the Quran, the Ahlul Bayt, the progeny, the kindred of the Prophet. May God's peace and blessings be upon him and upon them all. So, they pit the Quran against the Hadith. That's a trap. Don't fall for it. They're both equally important. Equally important? Yes, equally important. That's what the Prophet said in Hadith al-Thaqalain. Anyway, another example. They would pit Hajj against ziyarah of Imam Hussein. Isn't Hajj a major branch of our religion, part of Furu' ad-Din? Well, of course it is. Of course it is. I'm not going to object to that. Why pit it against ziyarah? Why talk about how Hajj is more important, there's more reward and all that sort of discussion? We don't need that. Hajj is important, so is ziyarah. In fact, Hajj can be wajib if you've never performed Hajj and you have the means to go to ziyarah. While ziyarah isn't always wajib. Again, some ulama have suggested that there could be the possibility of saying that ziyarah is wajib based on the sheer number of traditions we have and the strong wording of those hadiths. We can make that argument, but why pit one against the other? Why? Or, for example, people who say, again, pitting two truths against one another. Why go to ziyarah when you have poor people in the community? Helping the poor is important. Going to ziyarah is important. Why put one against the other? It's not some wrestling match. They're both important. Go to ziyarah and help the poor. Somebody who actually lives right here in London came out just before Ziyarat al-Arba'in. And he made a statement on his social media account. And he said, look, the Shia should know, and he claims to be a Shia, by the way. He said the Shia should know, all those people who have gone to Ziyarat al-Arba'in should know They're not being rewarded the slightest bit. Not one thawab from Allah, while we have poor people starving to death, while we have people who don't have access to the basic necessities of life. Pitting two truths against one another. Ziyarah against benevolence. Visitation against charity. Why do that? Why? As a matter of fact, let me make an argument right here and now. Those people who spend money to buy a ticket, fly to Karbala, in order to either participate in the ziyarah and the walk in Arba'een, or better yet, those people who go and set up camps to serve the pilgrims of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein and to provide services to them, those are the most likely to support those who are poor and those who are less fortunate. The Imam says that if you ever see a good trait in somebody, always look for its sister traits. When you see someone who is brave, then you should know that he's also generous. When you see someone who is kind, you should know that he's also closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in acts of worship than you are. The people who participate in ziyarat Aba Abdullah al-Hussein are the most likely to support these good charitable causes worldwide. Worldwide. That's one example. The other response to this petty little argument made by this guy is that what greater act of charity than feeding 20 million people in one event? You tell me. An event where you have a banquet that's set up from as far as Fao in the southern tip of Iraq, where the marshes are, all the way to Karbala, 530 miles across. The biggest banquet in all of our entire planet, where people are served food and drink and all kinds of pleasures that you would need as a traveler. I saw someone begging on the street. I said, really? Really? Which one of your needs are not being attended to right now? Is it food? Is it water? Is it all kinds of food that are being made available to the zuwar? All kinds of services that you can't even imagine a 7-star hotel providing you with. Where in the world? In what hotel? In what resort? Please, if there is one, tell me. Where do you find people sitting down, sitting you down on a chair, taking your shoes off, then taking your socks off, then washing your feet with warm water, then lovingly massaging your feet, then kissing the sole of your feet, all in the love of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein? Where? Tell me. Where do you get so many meals being delivered? One conservative estimate is that over 500 million meals are served during Arba'een. Just to give you some perspective, remember the earthquake in Haiti? Remember the tragic earthquake that took place a few years back? I remember back then, I read in the news that the United Nations, as well as the French military, given that it was a French outpost at one point, as well as the United States government and all of its NGOs and charitable organizations came to Haiti in order to deliver food parcels to the victims of that earthquake. And they said that within a period of about a week, if I'm not mistaken, they delivered 1 million meals. 1 million versus 500 million. Where in the world do you find this? Why pit charity against ziyarah when ziyarah is the greatest act of charity ever seen? When you see two truths being pitted against one another, that's a big, big amber light. That's a big warning. Step back. Wait a minute. Why is this being said? Why is this? What's the motive of this individual? So I'm just leaving it out there. Let's go back to our main discussion. So, falsehood is patient. Falsehood is tenacious. Falsehood is willing to wait years and years and years for it to be able to bring about your destruction. But, subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, makaru, they schemed, They plotted, they planned. وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ. But God also schemed and plotted and planned. وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. There is no better schemer than God. Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refer to His plan as a scheme and a plot? Wouldn't you say that that's a negative, there's a negative connotation to that? To scheme, to conspire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the same terminology to explain and describe His actions. Why? Because oftentimes, listen carefully, oftentimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses that very same scheme against the plotters and the schemers. The very same one. How? Ma'mun brings Imam al-Ridha in order to destroy the Imam, using a very different strategy, a very different scenario than his predecessors. That same plot is used to undermine Ma'mun and to raise and elevate the status of Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha. It turned against him. It turned against him how? There are many examples, we don't have time to get into all of them, but one of them is the incident known as Salatul Eid. Are you aware of that? So one day, it's Eid, Ma'mun tells Imam al-Ridha, you know what? You're the new crown prince, you've just come all the way from Medina, I'll give you this one. How about you go and you lead the salah? Imam al-Ridha tells him, listen, first of all, relieve me. Don't make me lead the salah. He said, no, I insist, you must. So the Imam said, if I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do it my way. Let me do it the way Rasulullah used to do it, my grandfather. Ma'mun said, fine, do whatever you want. He didn't know what the Imam was talking about. So the Imam comes out of his humble home. People are waiting. Imagine, not only celebrities and dignitaries and generals and army officers, but the entire general public is waiting to have the crown prince come out and lead Salatul Eid. They expected him to come out the same way Ma'mun did. They expected him to come out and present himself the same way as all these dignitaries and celebrities. And it was only a matter of seconds before Imam al-Ridha came out. He was dressed like Rasulullah. He was not riding on the back of a horse. He was walking barefoot. He had his abaya turned upside down and inside out in humility. Imam al-Ridha, with his head lowered, was reciting dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because imagine, even to this day, we have the President of the United States come out and there's always like a band playing music in the background just to hype it up, to make it sound more exciting and interesting than it actually is, right? This is something that was done back in the day and it's still practiced to this very day. Imam al-Ridha turned that practice over on its head, came out reminding people of Rasulullah, his humility, his worship of Allah. So much so that all of those dignitaries who were riding on the back of their horses with their medals across their chests and their fancy clothes and so forth, they were shamed into abandoning all of that. They dismounted their horses, they took off those fancy clothes and they started walking behind Imam al-Ridha. Before Ma'mun knew it, the entire spectacle turned into a revolution against royalty, against extravagance, against pomposity, and against the hypocrisy of Bani al-Abbas and Bani Umayyah. So much so that even before Imam al-Ridha reached the mihrab, he went and called for him. He said, you know what? You don't have to lead salah today. Come back. He realized Imam al-Ridha was going to turn the tables around. And so it backfired. It backfired. That's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best of schemers. Ma'mun brings Imam al-Ridha all the way from Medina because he thinks to himself, well, while Imam al-Ridha is in Medina, Medina is a city of special significance and relevance to Islam and the Prophet, and he's got Rasulullah right there. He can keep reminding everyone that Rasulullah is my ancestor, my forefather, and so he could use the situation in Medina to attract support and to garner backing for himself and his bid against my authority. And so let's bring him all the way to Khurasan, where he's just a lonely stranger, where he doesn't have any supporters, he doesn't have anybody who even recognizes him. This entire nation of Iran recently embraced Islam, and their version of Islam was not incongruous with the school of Ahlul Bayt. Let's bring him out here where he is a gharib. And before you know it, the entire nation is turned into a Shia nation. A nation that owes its very survival to the shrine of Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha in Khurasan. There's not a single Iranian who doesn't recognize that. Conservative or liberal, religious or otherwise. They all recognize Imam Ridha, Imam Ridha. They understand that without the blessed shrine of Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha in Khurasan, Iran would have been obliterated a long time ago. Islam would have vanquished from that entire region. It turned the nation into the powerhouse of Shia scholarship. One tiny example of that is just how many maraja of this day and age actually come from Khurasan and from Mashhad. Sayyid Sistani is one of them. Sheikh Wahid Khurasani is another. Sayyid Moderresi is another. So many maraja, so many ulama, they all come from Khurasan. The school of Khurasan, as Sayyid Sistani actually alludes to this. He says that Sayyid Sistani, in his official biography, I remember reading on his website, that Sayyid Sistani benefited from 3 schools, one of which is the school of Qom and Ayatollah Burujardi, whose name I mentioned last night, and of course the school of Najaf, and the school of Na'ini and Khoi, and the school of Mashhad led by Ayatollah al-Uzma Mirza Mahdi al-Asfahani, and the giants that he trained and groomed to be scholars of the faith and to purify Islamic and Shia jurisprudence from foreign agents like philosophy and Sufism and so on and so forth. That is just one tiny blessing derived from the shrine of Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha in Khurasan. It backfired, and it backfired spectacularly. Wallahu khayrul makirin. Another example, look at what they did to Amir al-Mu'mineen. They took Ali ibn Abi Talib within a matter of a few hours, right? They set up Saqifa. They sidelined Ali ibn Abi Talib. They sent him to his house. He was under house arrest for 25 years. Ali ibn Abi Talib is under house arrest, which means that he has no access to the public. He can't teach anyone. He can't train anyone. There's nobody there. And boy, did that backfire. Because Ali ibn Abi Talib doesn't need an army. All Ali needs is the likes of Maytham al-Tammar. All Ali needs is the likes of Malik al-Ashtar. All Ali needs is the very son of the individual who put Ali under house arrest, Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, about whom the Imam said, Muhammadun ibni min sulbi Abi Bakr. His father can be whoever he wants. He's my son, he's mine. Muhammad is mine. And he's one of the people who's called upon on the day of judgment. Ayn hawariyu Ali. Where are the closest inner circle members of Ali ibn Abi Talib? Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr gets up. Allahu Akbar. Wallahu khayrul makirin. Then, again, the idea, Shaitan devised his plans and executed them perfectly. Shaitan created a chain of causality that started in Saqifa and culminated and bore its poisonous fruits in Karbala, killing Imam al-Hussein in the manner that he was killed. But did that end the Ahlul Bayt? When they brought those horses to trample upon the chest of Abu Abdullah, their intention was, let's leave no trace for this family. Let's ensure Hussein doesn't even have a grave that people can visit. But boy, did that backfire. Lady Zainab says to Imam Zayn al-Abidin, لَيُنصَبَنَّ لِأَهْلِ هَذَا الطَّفِّ عَلَمٌ. I can see the day where signs will be erected for the people of this desert, for the people of this land. These dismembered bodies of your father, your brothers, your uncles that you see before you, there is going to be signs erected in their name. And what's interesting, brothers and sisters, is that notice how she doesn't say لَيُنْصَبَنَّ فِي هذا الطف. She's not saying that there's going to be a flag or a sign or a dome on this land, on this desert. She says, for the people of this desert. In other words, 5 million Husayniyat around the world today are the answer to the prayer and the prophecy of Zainab on the day of the 11th of Muharram. This institution, may Allah bless whoever built it, may Allah bless whoever maintains it, is the answer to Zainab's prophecy and prayer. This is a sign for the people of that desert. Boy, did it backfire. Wallahu khayrul makirin. Allah is the best of schemers. Let me just give you one more example, if I may. Fir'aun was chasing after the Israelites as they were fleeing under the leadership of Musa, right? The Quran describes this in meticulous detail. And as he's chasing after them, he subtly notices that they're heading toward a direction where there was really no access because they were being blocked by the river. So the river Nile is on one side, Fir'aun and his army is on the other. The hadith says that Fir'aun thought to himself, oh boy, is this working out for me. Because they're headed toward that direction. They have no escape. There's no other direction they can go because they're trapped by this great river. So let's do this. His advisors say, what do we do? He said, let's drown them all. Oh, the irony. Let's drown them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses that very same plot, that very same conspiracy, that very same scheme devised by Fir'aun himself to drown himself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala splits the sea, they get across to the other side. Then Allah says to Musa, don't seal back the sea again. Let it be for a moment. I've got work to do. Fir'aun follows them, the sea gets sealed again, they all drown. If they are tenacious, if they're patient, there is no match to the patience of Allah and His loyal servants. Ali ibn Abi Talib says, صبرت وفي العين قذى وفي الحلق شجا أرى تراثي نهضا. For 25 years I was patient. I was patient like one who has a thorn in his eye and a bone in his throat, seeing my position being usurped. But I was patient. If the enemies of God are patient, the friends of God are a lot more patient. In fact, they embodied patience, so much so that the name of Ali is synonymous with patience. The name of Hassan is synonymous with patience. The name of Hussein, the name of Abbas, the name of Zainab is synonymous with patience. Allahu Akbar. They were patient. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created beings that would exemplify the best of morals. Because while the enemies were patient in pursuit of worldly pleasures, they were patient in pursuit of what? Guidance for the masses. Guidance. Which is why I recited this verse at the beginning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَجَعَلْنَاهُمْ أَئِمَّةً يَهْدُونَ بِأَمْرِنَا. We made them into leaders who would guide by our command. They would guide by our command. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when that happens, the next step is what? وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْهِمْ فِعْلَ الْخَيْرَاتِ. We reveal to them all the righteous deeds that they need to perform. You know what that means? It means that the reason those plots and schemes turned against the schemers and produced the most beautiful results that we see today is because the Imams follow the instructions they receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every move, every word, every utterance, every time they're silent, it's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed them to do so. So much so that their will and their actions is completely compatible and is one and the same with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah doesn't even need to tell them what to do, because they will always do exactly as He would want them to do. They tried to kill Imam al-Hussein. But subhanAllah, how Imam al-Hussein leaves the city of Medina in the middle of the night. A lot of things that the Imams did, and I'll just mention this and wrap up inshaAllah. A lot of the things that they did didn't really make much sense at the time and still don't make much sense for the most part. You still have people debating why Imam al-Hasan would sign the treaty of ceasefire with Muawiyah, right? What's referred to as Sulh al-Hasan. You still have people debating this and back and forth, coming up with arguments which are essentially nothing but pure conjecture, brothers and sisters. This is conjecture. We come up with a set of assumptions and we say, well, this is probably what it is. But that's a mistake in and of itself. How do you know why the Imam did what he did? My intellect compared with the intellect of the infallible Imam. And this is an example that doesn't do justice to what I'm trying to say. But it's almost like comparing candlelight with the sun. My capacity to understand things is so minuscule that it's a joke. You have people like me sitting on the minbar talking about things and analyzing them. We don't need analysis, brothers and sisters. We need facts. We need, if the Imam himself explains an action that he did, then we'll take his explanation. Because that is fact. But if he doesn't, then for me to try and conjecture my way out of it is a big mistake. How do I know? How do I know why Imam al-Hasan did this? Does it even make any sense that Imam al-Hussein is headed toward Kufa? Everybody, including his own brother, Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah, told him, what are you doing to yourself? What are you doing? Are you trying to get yourself killed? What's the point and for what purpose? Something we hear from Wahhabis to this very day. Why are you getting yourself killed? So the Imam tries to respond in a matter that my tiny little capacity to understand would be satisfied, albeit momentarily. What does he say? He says, Sha Allah an yarani qatila. Allah wishes to see me die. That's it. Don't ask any more questions. Why? Because you lack capacity. It's not because I don't trust you. It's because you just won't understand. Then why are you taking your family members? Why the women? Why the children? Why Qasim? Why Abdullah ibn al-Hasan? Why Abdullah al-Radhi an Ali al-Asghar? The Imam simply says, Sha Allah an yarahunna sabaya. Allah wishes to see the women taken as captives. Allah wishes. But what it is, now we're beginning to understand a little bit. Any analysis would have been rendered futile and worthless. Now we're beginning to get it. Imam al-Hussein was setting a series of actions into motion that would today lead to ziyaratul arba'in. While they tried to sideline the Ahlul Bayt, to silence the Imams, to put them under house arrest, to kill them, to maim them, to imprison them, to poison them. But that whole thing was supposed to lead to something truly spectacular. Something as big, as grand, as incredible as the millions of people who march toward Karbala year after year, and the momentum is only picking up. It's only getting bigger and bigger. That's why we need more services on the way. That's why we need more people to facilitate the ziyarah. That's why we need to make it more convenient for people to do the ziyarah. Because all these things will contribute to this ziyarah. From the 6 million that participated after the fall of Saddam, now we're talking about 22 million people. Western sources are saying this. Iraqi government figures are saying this. Now it's 22 million. Imagine if within 10 years' time we could get this up to 30, to 40, to 50, to 100 million people. Imagine if all the Shias of India started to come towards ziyarah, which unfortunately now we're not getting nearly as many as we'd like. But if obviously there are prohibitive issues, it's expensive, there are visa issues, the Iraqi government is actually trying to limit the number of zuwar. Those who say, I saw a report on BBC Persian, which dripped with poison. Dripped with poison. You have a march here during on the day of Ashura where 50,000 people march in the streets and there's not a peep coming out of them. I remember saying this a few years ago. I said, where is the BBC? Where are they? There are like 1,000 people in Harare marching against Robert Mugabe right now. You should just watch the news and laugh. Thousands of people marching against Mugabe saying that you should quit. Thousands of people. And you have 22 million in Karbala. And there's not a single report. Where is the BBC? And they say in that report that it's the governments that are trying to facilitate. Governments are backing this. They're beefing it up. They're supporting it. Really? Anyone who's ever been to Arba'in knows that the government doesn't get involved. And if it does, it's to the detriment of the ziyarah. As we see in the case of visa issuance and so forth. All the difficulties, all the hurdles they put in before people's way to Karbala and the ziyarah of Imam Hussein. It's my government, I get to say that, so no one complain about it. They're the worst culprits when it comes to blocking access to Shi'as around the world and lovers of Ahlul Bayt and the truth around the world from doing their ziyarah. And they have no right to do that. The point is, Imam al-Hussein was setting this into motion. Why did Imam al-Ridha accept to be the crown prince? Again, let's not conjecture, let's not assume, let's not presume. Let's not overanalyze it, we don't know. But maybe Imam al-Ridha was trying to produce what we see today, or something even greater, inshallah. Anyway, the 8th Imam is referred to as Al-Imam al-Ra'uf. Last year, I remember I explained this statement in the ziyarah, which is a testament to the grandeur of this Imam, to the love, kindness, compassion of this Imam toward petty, insubordinate slaves of his like myself. How Imam al-Ridha alayhi salam loved the Shia, how he cared for them, how he sacrificed himself for their sake. One example of that, one tiny reference, is if you think about it, when Ma'mun offered the Imam those poisoned grapes, at first the Imam refused to eat them. Why would he? He knows what's inside. He knows that they're going to kill him. So the Imam refused. Then Ma'mun pointed to one of his guards. He said, if you don't eat this, then it'll be either the grapes or the sword. In other words, he blatantly told the Imam that if you don't eat the poisoned grapes, I'll kill you. So here's a question for you. Why did the Imam eat the poisoned grapes? If you're going to get killed anyway, then why bring about your own death? Why be held responsible for your own death? And the reason for that, perhaps, we don't know, we don't want to conjecture, but I've heard this from one of our ulama, who says that perhaps if the Imam had been killed by Ma'mun, that would have exposed his entire scheme, which was devised and hatched from beginning to end, as though he was someone who loved the Ahlul Bayt. Had Ma'mun killed Imam al-Ridha, then the Shia would rise against Ma'mun. There would be an uprising, and in that uprising, thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of Shia would be killed. Imam al-Ridha doesn't want his Shia to get killed. And so if he's going to get killed one way or the other, he chooses the way that would save his Shia, save his followers. Assalamu ala al-Imam al-Ra'uf الذي هيج أحزان يوم الطفوف. اللهم صل على علي بن موسى الرضا المرتضى الإمام التقي النقي وحجتك على من فوق الأرض ومن تحت الثرى الصديق الشهيد صلاة كثيرة تامة زاكية متواصلة متواترة مترادفة كأفضل ما صليت على أحد من أوليائك. السلام على الإمام الذي أمر عياله بالنياحة إليه. This is a ziyarah that Allama Majlisi narrates in Bihar al-Anwar. Peace be upon the Imam who instructed his family to cry for him. أمر عياله بالنياحة عليه قبل وصول القتل إليه. He asked them to cry for him even before he died. Imam al-Ridha gathered his family members after he was summoned to Khurasan. He brought his daughter, he brought his son, he brought his sister Fatimatul Ma'sooma, he brought his son Jawadul A'imma. He then told them, gather around me and cry for me. One of them said, Abatah, it is not recommended to cry when a traveler is about to leave. It brings bad omens. The Imam said, yes, that is for a traveler who is going to return. It's not good to cry when they leave. But I am a traveler who's never going to return to you. Some have said the reason Imam al-Ridha asked his family to gather around him and cry and mourn him even before he left was to bring closure to them. Imagine your father leaves, you expect him to come back, but he never does. They all cried for Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha. هو من تقطعت من جرع السم أعضاؤه أمعاؤه. In a ziyarat al-Jami'ah, in one of the ziyarat al-Jami'ah, the Imam describes Imam al-Ridha's death and martyrdom like this. He says that poison that he consumed tore up the insides of our master Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha. He told Abu Salt al-Harawi, if you see me coming out of the palace of Ma'mun while wearing my abaya on my shoulders, then approach me, speak to me. But if you see me wearing my cloak over my head, then you should know not to approach me. Do not speak with me, for I am about to die. I have been poisoned. Abu Salt al-Harawi was waiting anxiously when he saw the Imam coming out with his abaya over his head. He says that the Imam went straight for his door. The door of Imam al-Ridha's house was adjacent to the palace of Ma'mun. The distance wasn't too far, and yet he says in the time he left the palace of Ma'mun till he reached his door, the Imam would walk for a few steps and then sit down. He did that over 40 times. He then reached his house. Aba Salt, seal the doors, do not let anyone come in. Abu Salt al-Harawi said that I did that as the Imam asked me to. I closed the doors. The Imam went inside his room. فَكَانَ يَتَمَلْمَلُ تَمَلْمُلَ السَّلِيمِ. The Imam hauled in a fetal position, and he would move from side to side the way someone who has been stung by a poisonous snake would move. He says that suddenly I noticed a young boy walking. I looked at him. I said, who let you through the front door? He said, Ya Aba Salt, the one who brought me from Medina to Khurasan is also the one who let me inside the house. Let me see my father. I am Muhammad al-Jawad. Allahu Akbar, what a meeting that was between Imam al-Ridha, who was a stranger in Khurasan, who yearned to see his son al-Imam al-Jawad. Now father and son get together for the first time in years. They embrace one another, they hugged one another, they kissed one another, and then Imam al-Ridha placed his head in his son's lap and breathed his last. But let me ask you, O mu'mineen, Imam al-Ridha spent his last moments in this life in the company of his son, in the lap of Muhammad al-Jawad. But what about Abu Abdullah al-Husayn? Imam al-Ridha himself said, Ya ibn Shabib, in kunta bakiyan li shay' fabki ala jaddi al-Husayn. Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha says, if you're going to cry, cry for my grandfather Abu Abdullah. Imam Zainul Abidin describes the scene. He says that my father came to my tent in order to give me the reins of wilayah and imamah. But unlike Imam al-Ridha, when I saw Abu Abdullah, كان الدم يشخب من بدنه, blood was gushing out from beneath the armor. Allahu Akbar. When Abu Abdullah fell to the ground, Ali ibn al-Husayn was not there to hold him. Ali al-Akbar was not there to embrace him. Abbas, Qasim, Habib, no one was there. What did Abu Abdullah do? فَصَنَعَ وِسَادَةً مِنَ الرَّمْلِ. The Imam made with his hands, with his weak and shaking hands, he made a little pillow using sand from the earth. وَوَضَعَ خَدَّهُ عَلَى التُّرَابِ. He placed his cheek against the dirt. Let me take you to the musibah that Imam al-Zaman narrates to us. As-salamu ala al-khadd al-tarib. Peace be upon the dusty cheek. As-salamu ala al-shayb al-khadib. Peace be upon the beard that was drenched by his blood of Abu Abdullah. As-salamu ala man dafanahu ahlul qura. Peace be upon the one that was buried by the villagers. I don't know, ya mu'mineen, I don't know if you've had a chance to ever think about this statement in زِيَارَةٍ نَاحِيَةٍ. What is Imam al-Zaman trying to tell us when he says that his father was buried by the villagers? Let me give you an example. Imagine you have an elderly person in the community, someone that people don't interact with, that people don't even like, and then one day this person disappears. For a few days he's nowhere to be seen. So people say, where is this old man? Somebody says he's been dead for 3 days. So someone comes along and says, well, let's go. Since he has no family, he has no tribe, he has no one to care for him, let's go bury him somewhere. As-salamu ala man dafanahu ahlul qura. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. يا حسين يا حسين يا
رضا رو کے معصوم ہے کم، رو کے معصوم ہے کم، کم سے دیتی ہے صدا، اے میرے بھائی رضا، اے غریب الغربا، اے میرے بھائی رضا، تیرا دیدار نہیں بھائی کی قسمت میں میری، تیرا دیدار نہیں بھائی کی قسمت میں میری، دے ہواؤں کو ذرا حکم میری، سن لو آواز تیری، سن لو آواز تیری، دل بہلتا ہے میرا، اے میرے بھائی رضا، اے غریب الغربا، اے میرے بھائی رضا، دیکھنے آئی ہوں میں قم میں صورت تیری، اے غریب الغربا، دیکھ غربت میری، کوئی بتلاتا نہیں، کوئی بتلاتا نہیں مجھ کو مشہد کا پتہ، اے میرے بھائی رضا، اے غریب الغربا اے میرے بھائی رضا مجھ پہ جو بیت گئے وہ علم کچھ بھی نہیں سامنے زینب کے میرے غم کچھ بھی نہیں میں نہ بازار گئی میں نہ بازار گئی نہ چھنی میری ردا اے میرے بھائی رضا اے غریب الغربا اے میرے بھائی رضا جب سے پہنچی ہوں میں قم جب سے پہنچی ہوں میں قم دل ہے قابو میں کہاں غم زدہ آئے نظر شہر پیروں کا جوان دیکھ کالے ہیں علم دل بہتا ہے میرا اے میرے بھائی رضا اے غریب الغربا اے میرے بھائی رضا رو کے معصوم ہے کم رو کے معصوم ہے کم سے دیتی ہے صدا اے میرے بھائی رضا یا حسین تجھ سے ملنے کے لیے کتنے میلوں کا سفر تیری زینب نے کیا ہے اے غریب الغربا اے میرے بھائی رضا تجھ پہ ہم شیر فدا ہے اے غریب الغربا اے میرے بھائی رضا
تجھ پہ ہم شیر فدا ہے غریب الغربا
مجھ کو پردیس میں یہ رات بلاتی ہی رہی دور ہوں اگر سر پہ ردا ہے بھی نہیں بنت زہرا نے مگر شام و کوفہ کا سفر بے ردا کیسے کیا ہے
غریب الغربا ہے میرے بھائی رضا تجھ پہ ہم شیر فدا ہے غریب الغربا ہے میرے بھائی رضا تجھ پہ ہم شیر فدا ہے غریب الغربا
تیرے دیدار بنا بھائی نہیں رہ سکتی، غم میں فرقت کا تیری اور نہیں رہ سکتی، کیا مجھے بھول گئے تم کو بہنا سے ملے، ایک برس بیت گئی ہائے
غریب الغربا اے میرے بھائی رضا، تجھ کو ہمشیر فدا،
اے غریب
غربا اے میرے بھائی رضا، تجھ پہ ہمشیر فدا، غریب الغربا۔
تم کو زندہ میں کہیں قید نہ کر لے کوئی، میرا بابا کی طرح زہر نہ دے دے کوئی، جی نہیں پاؤں گی میں سن کے مر جاؤں گی میں، تم کو گھر کچھ بھی ہوا ہے
غریب الغربا اے میرے بھائی رضا، تجھ پہ ہمشیر فدا، غریب الغربا اے میرے بھائی رضا، تجھ پہ ہمشیر فدا، غریب الغربا۔
باپ کی طرح میرے سر پہ تیرا سایہ ہے، اپنی بیٹی کی طرح تو نے مجھے پایا ہے، تو ہے اے بھائی جہاں مجھ کو بلوا لے وہاں، ہوگا احسان تیرا ہے
غریب الغربا اے میرے بھائی رضا، تجھ پہ ہمشیر فدا، غریب الغربا اے میرے بھائی رضا، تجھ پہ ہمشیر فدا، غریب الغربا۔
ساتھ ہم ہوتے اگر شام کو جاتے بھائی، پھر سکینہ کے لیے اشک بہاتے بھائی، کیا نہیں تو کو خبر آ گیا مارے سفر، وارث قرب و بلا ہے
غریب الغربا اے میرے بھائی رضا، تم سے ہمشیر فدا، غریب الغربا اے میرے بھائی رضا، تم سے ہمشیر فدا، غریب الغربا۔
مجھ کو پردیس میں یہ بات رلاتی ہی رہی، دور ہو گھر سے مگر سر پہ ردا ہے بھائی، بنت زہرا نے مگر شام و کوفہ کا سفر بے ردا کیسے کیا ہے
غریب الغربا اے میرے بھائی رضا، تجھ پہ ہمشیر فدا، غریب الغربا۔
حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، بازار شام آ گیا، بازار شام آ گیا، بازار آ گیا، بازار شام سب مل کے گیا بازار شام آ گیا شام آ گیا اکبر میرے جوان کس کو بلائے ماں بازار شام آ گیا بازار شام گیا بازار شام آ گیا بازار شام آ گیا شام آ گیا بازار شام آ گیا دشت بالا کو چھوڑ کر دشت بالا کو چھوڑ کر خاک شفا کور کر اے فخر کبریا سنو کہتی ہوں ہاتھ جوڑ کر کیسے چلے گی ماں اے میرے نوجوان بازار شام آ گیا بازار شام آ گیا گیا بازار شام آ گیا بازار شام آ گیا بازار قسمت کی پاسباں ہے وہ خیر النساء کی جاں ہے وہ غربت کی انتہا ہوئی غیروں کے درمیان ہے وہ شہزادی یہ جنا سہتی ہے سختیاں بازار شام آ گیا گیا بازار شام آ گیا بازار آ گیا ماشاءاللہ بازار شام آ گیا بازار شام گیا بازار شام باطل کے راہ میں یہ پسر باطل کے راہ میں یہ پسر سجاد کا ہے ہم سفر غم تو نہیں ہے یہ ستم سہتا رہا ہے وہ مگر کیسے سہے بھلا بیمار سارباں بازار شام آ گیا بازار شام آ گیا بازار آ گیا بازار شام آ گیا بازار گیا بازار شام آ گیا بازار گیا میں نے سنی ہے یہ صدا میں نے سنی ہے یہ صدا کہتے ہیں شام میں سبھی بدلہ علی کا لیں گے ہم بنت علی سے آج ہی پتھر سے ہے بھری لوگوں کی جھولیاں بازار شام آ گیا شام آ گیا بازار شام آ گیا بازار بازار شام آ گیا بازار شام پالا ہے جس نے عمر بھر اکبر تجھے حجاب میں غازی کے سامنے بھی وہ بیٹا رہی نقاب میں غیروں میں بیردا جاتی ہے علما بازار شام آ گیا آ گیا بازار شام آ گیا بازار آ گیا بازار شام آ گیا بازار شام آ گیا بازار دشت بلا کو چھوڑ کر دشت بلا کو چھوڑ کر خاک شفا کور کر اے فخر کبریا سنو کہتی ہوں ہاتھ جوڑ کر کیسے چلے گی ماں اے میرے نوجوان بازار شام آ گیا بازار شام آ گیا بازار شام آ گیا بازار شام گیا قسمت کی پاسباں ہے وہ قسمت کی پاسباں ہے وہ خیر النساء کی جاں ہے وہ غربت کی انتہا ہوئی غیروں کے درمیان ہے وہ شہزادی یہ جنا سہتی ہے سختیاں بازار شام بازار شام آ گیا یا حسین 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 یا ظلم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے مظلوم 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 بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے ہائے جس کو زہر لو دو مسلمان نے دیا ہے ہائے جس کو زہر لو دو مسلمان نے دیا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے ہائے جس کو زہر لو تو مسلمان نے دیا ہے ہائے جس کو زہر لو تو مسلمان نے دیا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا 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 ہے سب آنکھیں کرو بند دعائی ہے دعائی ایک بی بی عزادار یہاں شام سے آئی لپٹی ہے جنازے سے نہیں سر پہ ردا ہے لپٹی ہے جنازے سے نہیں سر پہ ردا ہے مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا امم بھی کلثوم رقیہ بھی ہے معصومہ کم بھی، وہ بی ہے کربل میں جلی جس کی ابا ہے، وہ بی ہے کربل میں جلی جس کی ابا ہے، مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا 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 ہے، مامون عباسی کی عنایت ہے یہ لوگوں، ہائے آل پیمبر سے عداوت ہے یہ لوگوں، سیدوں پہ ذرا دیکھو یہ امت کی وفا ہے، سیدوں پہ ذرا دیکھو یہ امت کی وفا ہے، مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا 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 ہے، روتے ہیں فرشتے بھی زمین اور زماں بھی، ہائے لو قلم عرش بری کون و مکابی، خیر النساء کے لالِ ماتم کی صدا ہے، خیر النساء کے لالِ ماتم کی صدا ہے، مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے، مظلوم بے وطن یہ میرا مولا رضا ہے، یا حسین یا
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين وسيد الوصيين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدتي نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى أم المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك، عليكم منا سلام الله أبدا ما بقينا وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد منا لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليكم يا شهداء كربلاء جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. زيارة إمام الرضا. السلام عليك يا ولي الله، السلام عليك يا حجة الله، السلام عليك يا نور الله في ظلمات الأرض، السلام عليك يا عمود الدين، السلام عليك يا وارث آدم سفوة الله، السلام عليك يا وارث نوح النبي الله، السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله، السلام عليك يا وارث إسماعيل ذبيح الله، السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله، السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله، السلام عليك يا وارث محمد رسول الله، السلام عليك يا وارث أمير المؤمنين علي ولي الله ووصي رسول رب العالمين، السلام عليك يا وارث فاطمة الزهراء، السلام عليك يا وارث الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة، السلام عليك يا وارث علي بن الحسين زين العابدين، السلام عليك يا وارث محمد بن علي الباقر علم النبيين من الأولين والآخرين، السلام عليك يا وارث جعفر بن محمد الصادق البار، السلام عليك يا وارث موسى بن جعفر الكاظم، السلام عليك أيها الصديق الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها الوصي البار التقي، أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وعبدت الله مخلصا حتى أتاك اليقين، السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء، السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء، السلام عليك يا مخيث الشيعة والزوار في يوم الجزاء، السلام عليك يا أنيس النفوس، السلام عليك أيها المدفون بأرض طوس، السلام عليك يا سلطان أبا الحسن علي بن موسى الرضا، السلام عليك وعلى أختك فاطمة المعصومة ورحمة الله وبركاته، السلام عليك يا حجة الله يا ابن الحسن يا صاحب العصر والزمان، الأمان الأمان من فتنة الزمان، السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك وجعلنا من عوانك وأنصارك، السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.